Wow, it's been a whole year of hosting live group coaching programs, creating courses, seeing people educate, guiding people in one-on-one and group coaching mentorships. And I just finished editing the most beautiful, most inspiring moments we've had in all of our group coaching programs, in our one-on-one mentorships. What you're about to see are snippets out of testimonial interviews after people educated from my programs, or moments in the group coaching containers, which were super fun. We laughed a lot. It was beautiful. And so I just want to give you an insight on how this past year of 2022 has looked like from within the group coaching or one-on-one coaching experience with me as your life coach. Have a look.
You're just like a mentor to me. So, I feel like you're such an incredible coach. So you just have a way of seeing what we need, and then you just say stuff, you know what I mean? So for me, I would totally miss that if we stopped this, because I just love the stuff you say. I feel so much better when after this call, I just feel so light and wonderful. So yeah, this is a great container for us. So yeah.
And then you just said
I relate to that so much because, like, you know how to say the right.
I don't know how. You just know what to say.
That make us think and reflect.
Yes.
To really be intuitive with everybody in here, and I pick up on things that are in the space, like the topic of being alone, because it's just something that is present for all of us,
Yes.
And then just to say stuff.
Just say stuff, June.
Say stuff.
Yes. Say stuff. Yes.
I also just feel like this container has really allowed me to better my communication around like emotional, baggage and communicating my feelings. I've always been someone who was sort of a bit like, I was trying not to tread on people's toes, like a bit of a people pleaser. I just said what I knew people wanted to hear. And not always communicating my truth because I'm worried about offending people or it coming across the wrong way. So that's something that is really starting to be picked apart in this container, and that I want to keep working on. Like cutting out all the shit, all the added expectations from people, and just listening to what it is that I really want or what it is that I'm really feeling, and not being afraid to go for it.
Well, you're to me, it looks like you're really setting yourself up for that. And by identifying and now, let's say, spending your first Christmas alone ever and really being with those emotions, that is just going to raise the level of resilience and emotional intelligence that you are able to experience being here in this body, on this holiday, on this planet,
Like after we did the breath work, I was in Boston. Do you remember that, June? We did it with Nadia.
Yes.
And then that was when I had the breakthrough, and I taught the yoga, the meditation, and the movement that we have on our mastermind. So I would say that's when things really started shifting for me, is after the breath work. So that was huge. And then, of course, I think the great thing about the movement is it really gets you in touch with those areas that you have that are obstructed in your body, that there might be emotions there that haven't moved in years, and it's just like all of a sudden, oh, wow, this is coming up. Okay, well, I'll just be with this for a while. And what's nice about it is it doesn't last forever, right? It just goes and comes. And I'm learning to acknowledge my emotions more than ever, like the sadness. Before I'd just be like, let's keep on shopping, but now, now I just was like, okay, I'm going to give into this. I'm just going to sit here with it and just allow myself to feel it. Yes, my family's broken up and it's hard, but at the same time, we were together many years before my son is now an adult. So, we had those times, and those are good. And now I can move forward into bigger and better things like my new mastermind. So yeah.
The dance and the breath work has really initiated these last sparks for you to step into that realm of I'm in my purpose, huh?
Yes. And like you said, it's almost like it just started falling into place. It's like, you know how you sometimes you just keep trying to put a round peg in a square hole and it never works. That's how I felt in a lot of ways. And something too that's been powerful. I don't know if you guys have Netflix, but there's a show called The Maid. And The Maid is about this woman that is emotionally abused in her marriage. And that's not my story exactly, but I definitely experienced a lot of that the 22 years I was with Adam. And so anyway, when I saw that, it brought it up. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I can't deny that anymore. I can't deny it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a powerful show. You guys should watch it.
I've watched it. It was
you have seen it. Okay. Yeah. A lot of stuff, a lot of creative stuff's been happening. So that's a wonderful thing.
Wenn du zurückdenkst am Moment, wo du die Entscheidung hast gefällt, mit mir zusammen zu arbeiten.
Ich denke, die Entscheidung habe ich sogar schon gefällt vor unserem Telefonat. Also ich weiss noch, die Ausschreibung, die du hast gemacht für das Beyond Depression and Anxiety Programm. Und die Worte, die du dort einfach hast gewählt, die haben mir ganz tief angeklungen. Also die haben sehr mit mir resoniert, mit meiner Situation, in der ich dann war. Es war sehr intuitiv, dass ich einfach gespürt habe, das ist genau das. Du hast die Fähigkeit, die blinden Flecken zu sehen. Und ich denke, das ist genau das, warum dass man Coaches, Therapeuten und so weiter wirklich braucht, weil man einfach selber nicht fähig ist, die blinden Flecken zu sehen.
Dort bist du auch dabei gewesen. Willst du ein bisschen erzählen, wie das war?
Also grundsätzlich finde ich, beide Programme haben den tiefsten Impact. Also die sind beide wahnsinnig tief gegangen und haben am schnellsten den grössten Shift, die grösste Veränderung bewirkt. Was ich daraus genommen habe, ist wirklich Grenzen setzen und Intentionen, so Absichten. Genau. Ich habe so viel von meiner Geschichte, von alten Themen, von Familienthemen plötzlich verstehen in diesen 6 Wochen. Also ich habe mehr von meiner Persönlichkeit und von meinem Leben, von meinen Verhaltensmustern, hauptsächlich destruktive Verhaltensmuster, verstehen als, ja, keine Ahnung mit was. Also es war wirklich bahnbrechend gewesen. Ja.
That was fantastic. And at the beginning, I just really, really, really wanted to do my meditation. And I thought, no, give this a try. It was wonderful. I really want to thank you. I have never experienced anything like that before, and never would have guessed going into darkness. I'm used to light, and I'm so grateful that I did this. Oh, I'm just blown away, and I had no idea how important this was going to be.
Go ahead, whoever wants, Tam or Frank. How was that?
I found it very relaxing, actually. I might do that before bed each night.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, I feel limber and loose. A couple of areas that were tight. And just freeing. Honestly, my mind was just everywhere and nowhere. So it was a very nice feeling. Yeah.
How was it for you, Tam?
Good. Actually, I was dancing with my dog. He was really interested in what I was doing. He was like, you should get up off, because we've become so COVID people now. It's just like at night, it's just like Netflix and you don't do anything. But I utilized all my space. I was outside and looking at the ocean, and it was super quiet out there, and just told me that I sort of gave me permission to move about freely in my own home. Sometimes I feel like a bit of a prisoner here sometimes. So, and you can't do those things by yourself, and you should, and you should. And the music, honestly, in the early 2000s, I sort of made a big shift in my life, and I was working at a software company, and that was the kind of music I ended up losing again, like 35 pounds. And I became an actress, and I became a waitress, and I just totally changed my life. But it was that kind of dance music that I put on when I was working out, and it just maybe will inspire me again to use it for my benefit.
How about you, Nan? How was that for you?
I woke up really wanting to do yoga today, and for me it's 7:40 something at night, and I've been too busy for ages to do yoga. I've just fitted in a couple of times. So I started by doing yoga, which felt great, and then I danced. The dancing was really great because I was doing moves I've never done before. I've gotten a lot stronger because I've been working physically hard on my property. So I was able to squat way down and with my legs, which I never could do before, and swing around, and it was fun.
You're on a rowing boat, and I was without like this,
Like the rowing stick paddles?
Yeah, the paddle. And now I feel like I have paddles, so if I'm lost, I can just go somewhere, and not just float.
Oh, my heart is just dancing right now. No. When you look back at all those years of being a vegan, and you'd imagine having the tools and skills that you learned in this course, what challenges would you feel like would have been much easier to conquer or to walk through?
Fights that I had with my mother, and maybe some weakening of relationships with old friends that could have been prevented. Until 2.5 years ago, I think I was also doing street activism, and yeah, I also just got too tired and overwhelmed for that, so I quit that. Well, now I plan to do my next street activism the 3rd of December, so I do feel more ready for it again. Having better mental stability and emotional stability to handle with my peers and family, and to get out on the streets, I guess those would have been easier if I could reflect more on them with journaling and be stable with meditation. So yeah.
Now that you've walked through the course and you've discovered the breath work, which also you've known about before, now you've deepened your knowledge, and meditation, journaling, ecstatic dance, etc., all the tools you've learned. Did your relationship to the people that you are close to, let's say your friends and your family, did you already feel like you can treat them with a certain lightness or a certain different feeling?
I actually do. When I was feeling more stressed or down, I would also be like kind of sensitive when people were eating meat or something around me. And now it's much more just to myself, I think. And I feel I can see much more the positive in all sides of things. That's also a way that I can approach these people with positivity. So yeah, like I feel more grounded and stable, and not blown off, my mood being blown off by seeing something that I used to think was very profound, whatever,
I was just not coping with stress and busyness very well. I suppose it was a combination of being a very passionate person, and I suppose a bit of a perfectionist and overachiever as well as societal conditioning. But I was not getting enough sleep because I was constantly trying to just go. I was not doing the right type of exercise for my body, too much high intensity training, which was contributing to high cortisol levels and high feelings of stress, not being able to just come down and relax at the end of the day.
Would you like to share with us a little bit, because it's been 3 months, about 3 months now, since you've educated from the program. Would you love to share with us a little bit on what has grown after the program?
it's been a few months of completing the program, but my sleep has improved so much. My just inner clarity about what I want and what I don't want, and so much societal conditioning that I had that I didn't see was there. So the outcome of the program has been so far-reaching to so many different aspects of my life. It's really hard to, you know, convey it all in a short session like this with you. But one of the main things that we spoke about before we started recording was, I suppose I used to have a lot of self-doubt, and I used to question myself a lot and worry about how my message was being perceived. And what's really shifted for me now is just this sense of urgency and this inner trust that I'm doing and saying what I believe to be right and what I believe to be important to create positive change in the world. I remember in one of the meditations, it was like a visualization, and you asked us to visualize where we wanted to see ourselves in the future from memory. This is what you asked us to do. And I remember picturing walking into Parliament after just being elected and putting my speech down at the lectern and getting ready to like give my speech as someone who'd just been elected to Parliament, right? But I remember not 100% feeling it. Like there was still this, I want to do that, but I can't do that. Like I'm not ready for that. So what has changed since completing this course is just, I suppose, shutting off the questioning myself and doubting myself, and just listening to that inner calling that is there, because I visualized it, I saw it, and that's what I'm going for with the Animal Justice Party, and just trusting and working towards that.
Look at you rocking. Look at you rocking, you know, and that's really what I wish for everybody out there, especially for activists, that we can be unapologetic about what we stand in for, and we don't have to bring in the anger, the frustration, or the overwhelm. We have to cope with that differently, so we don't throw that shit around in the world, because as we know, there's enough of that already.
The breathwork session we had was so good as well, and I remember that night before we had that session, I went out partying and was quite drunk. So then we did that breath work, and then I also like start to shift again and had several months without drinking alcohol at all. So that was really good. A lot of more clarity also what direction I want to go again in life. So that's why I'm back to Bali now and figured out and like finished all unfinished business I had before in my life. That's all like really fine off the table now, and I'm really feel happy about how the things I organized and also managed to confront that time I was in Switzerland, what I always procrastinated or was scared to do before. So a lot of things happened and shifted my life to the like completely opposite. And also I think I changed a lot by myself, because when I was in Bali before, I remember like I got like triggered easy about the people's behavior, you know, like the Asian Balinese are really quiet, chilled people, and we Europeans like to do things like that. And now since I'm back, I really like I'm more patient and really like understand them better and can also like feel them more. So I'm also more connected to my feelings and listen more to my body, my desires and needs, and can communicate them in a much better way.
What would you say to like people that are watching to this and that maybe are in a position where you were before? Like, what would you tell to them about this program?
Sometimes you want something else than you need, and like just really free yourself from the expectations and surrender to the process, because you know, Jun, what you're doing, your program is structured in a really professional way.
Thank you so much, Roger, for sharing all of that.
I'm a trauma survivor, so I've always struggled with the after effects of that, childhood trauma. So, um, I was, I've always struggled with PTSD, and I've always struggled with trying to stay in the present moment and stay grounded and not worry. You know, like my brain just snaps into anxiety sometimes because of the trauma that happened to me. And so I met you. You know how they say when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And that's what I feel like with you, June. I mean, it's just like you came into my life at the absolute perfect time. And, you know, I was struggling with a separation from my husband, as well as just, you know, just a lot of things going on that I felt like I wanted to develop personally, even more than I've been on the personal development path for a long time, or spiritual path, but I just wanted to take it deeper. So that's when you arrived. I knew, I was like, okay, this is perfect. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about, when we look at the time when you were in the group coaching program, what were those 3 takeaways? Like you just said before, the things that you learned in the program, what were 3 things that you took out of the program that you noticed would create a shift in your relationship to yourself and as a partner to someone else?
I think the journaling that you taught us, and the prompts that you taught us, the questions in the journal to help you focus your day and create a good morning routine. But not only just a morning routine, but just organize what's going to be happening in my life. Okay, well, what do I want to achieve, and how am I going to get there? Right. And those questions you gave us to ask and then journal about, that was huge for me. That just, I felt like helped me so much to begin to explore, you know, what my true highest choice would be for my life. Yeah. So that, what I say, is one takeaway. Another, of course, is the ecstatic dance, which absolutely blew my mind. And then you just reminded me to get back on track with that, because it just helps you so much with the day.
I always see them as train rails, you know, and at some point you would get into these train rails and start driving the train with a couple of people. That's what a momentum always feels like to me. How did it feel like to you to become a part of a group like that?
It felt like the energy, the vibration was raised by our deep breathing, by our meditations, all the meditations that you provide for us to do. And then, of course, the journaling and the deep breath work, that was huge. But, you know, it's funny you mentioned the train tracks, because at one point I feel like I just fell off the tracks. And, you know, I went into my darkness, but in a good way, because, you know, without facing the darkness within oneself, it's just that whole Carl Jungian thing. You cannot truly be as light as you could possibly be. So I think I actually really, through this process, allowed myself to go darker than I've ever gone. I'm laughing, but it wasn't fun. But at the same time, I feel like it has lifted me or catapulted me into a whole nother level of spiritual growth. So
It's so beautiful to hear that. And I observe that, you know, and I'm really grateful to be able to see these processes, because I understand that being happy and being joyful all the time can feel like riding a nice wave or being always on the same train tracks. But it's not. As you just said so nicely, we really learn to also embrace the darker parts of us and to learn the lessons from there, because there's a lot to be learned. And if we don't allow that to have space, we are not being our own medicine. We're not being our own healer. Indeed.
And so you say, for people that have never done this, if they're looking to be, like you say, innerly aligned, it's very true that this, I feel, there's days I'm not completely aligned, but I would say in general that this has brought all the pieces together. It definitely has brought all the pieces together.
What would you say to somebody who maybe has heard of the program, has heard of my group coaching, or has even looked at it, but hasn't made the decision yet? What would you say to them?
I would say they'd be a fool not to sign up.
Well, after those takeaways that you've just described, I agree.
I hate to be so blunt about it, but it would be the best thing they could do for themselves. It's hard to sometimes make a decision just for you. Again, like I said, self-love and all that stuff. It sounds all great in theory, but actually doing it takes strength to encourage to take those steps and actually take the time for yourself, because most people are too busy not doing that because they want to run away from themselves or whatever they're dealing with. And I think that's why we're here, is to learn to love one another better. But we can't love one another better if we're all locked up in our issues, so.
What a year. I'm like bathing in gratitude right now, and I can't wait to see how the next whole year will look like. Like, honestly, so often I start into the year and I have my coaching containers set up and we're all ready to go, and they're running on repeat. So whenever you feel ready to join one of these or to apply for one-on-one mentorship with me as your life coach, I'm ready to receive you and to see when we can get started. The moments and the shifts that are happening, every time when I get to observe them, it's just magical. It's kind of like outer-worldly beautiful, and I'm excited. I'm just very excited. So if you feel like this is something that you want to invest your time, your energy, and your attention and some of your money into, I have group coaching offers coming up this year. I have one-on-one mentorship. Just apply. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will leave you with the links down in the description of this video. If you're watching this on my website, just go into the menu bar and check out the work with me section. There's also free trainings available on my website if you haven't seen them yet, and there will be free upcoming live trainings. So I'm very looking forward to connect with you in whatever shape or form, if it will be in a free training or if we will be working together on your personal development, your spiritual growth, your inner alignment, your relationships, and elevating your skills as an activist, a change maker, and a vegan positive influence in this world. Then I await you, my love.